Welcome to the Lunchtime broadcast, where we highlight the news making waves, ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports and economic news. Here are the headlines. SADC concerned about Namibia's proposed visa scheme. LPM leader responds to deputy leader's resignation, and mother and daughter succumb to a shack fire. I am Diana Master and this is NMH at 1, midday news update coming right up. Two people, a mother and daughter, succumbed in a shack fire earlier this morning in the Tutaleni suburb of Walvis Bay. According to Chief Inspector Eleni Shapumba, Irongo police spokesperson, the fire started around 6:18 a.m. and destroyed 5 ghettos and also damaged the main house's walls and windows. Visual News highlights local stories from across Namibia right after the break. Stay with NMH at 1.
Hi Sonia.
Hi Tufeni. What are you reading?
I'm reading about the Child Care and Protection Act. In this pamphlet I got from school.
What's that?
It is Namibia's main law for the children and the issues affecting them. The Act classifies here that a child is anyone under the age of 18 years. Check out some of the rights meant to protect you. For more information, contact the Children's Advocate.
For more information, contact the Children's Advocate Namibia in the Office of the Ombudsman on 061 20 73 111. Send us an SMS on 20401. SMS costs 40 cents. You can also send us a message via our Facebook page. Remember, the services of the Children's Advocate are free of charge.
And now getting into our visual news. Landless People's Movement leader Bernardo Swartboy said they are happy following the resignation of his deputy, Henny Sabeb, and the party operator secretary, Edson Isaacs.
We are elated and we are celebrating that individuals who lack a sense of purpose have demonstrated that they never really could stand the test of time. Politics and leadership is about standing the test of time. It's not a 5-year sprint. It's a long-term game. So we are happy.
Yeah, I mean, as a person who started this movement with you, are there, other than the happiness, any sort of feelings you might have had? Because this is also your comrade in army. You started this party, that group.
No. We have had to carry very difficult burdens for 5 years. We had to carry the person. We had to babysit. We couldn't speak about those issues because at the time, the person was part of us. We had difficult days with these people. They are impossible to work with. Impossible. In the nature of leadership in organization, you normally don't talk about those internal issues. You don't. But you would have found that I have kept absolutely quiet when accusations were made against me. Absolutely quiet. And all we have done is to try to organize platform after platform after platform to say, let us talk whatever the concern is. From January until now, the only place we as LPM members of Parliament would see some of these individuals was at Parliament. So the relationship versus the party and every other person in the party at the head office in relation to those two individuals completely broke down. So as a party, we will obviously reflect. We have reflected last week, and we took some decisions, and we have long known that these people are no longer with us. We have long known since last year. It was just a matter of time that they would take the decision that they did. And that's why we have a sense of relief and a sense of joy that we are clearing the party. The party is being cleansed from inside. That those with whom we have to journey in the struggle are the ones that are remaining. Those that do not belong with us are the ones that are leaving. And we do not hold back people from leaving. As you came, so you go.
Stay with us after the break. The newspaper review segment takes us into Namibia's top stories in the daily newspapers.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Thank you for staying with NMH at 1. We now take a look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers. Namibian Sun reports that the Landless People's Movement Deputy Leader Henny Sebeb, who resigned from the party in Parliament yesterday, quit in order to preempt a plan to recall him, which would have been embarrassing, sources said. Party leader Bernarda Swartboy confirmed that it was just a matter of time before they dealt with Sebeb and former party operative secretary Edson Isaacs, who also resigned yesterday from both the party and Parliament. Swartboy had allegedly intended to give Sebeb the boot in May already, but he was advised to hold his horses until after the elections in November. This was so that Sebeb's constituency within the party support base, mainly Damara speakers, would still vote for LPM, which he allegedly called a Nama party. On page 3, Namibia achieved a remarkable 73.2% effective implementation results in an aviation meteorology audit program in March, exceeding averages from East Africa, Southern Africa, and the rest of the globe. This was highlighted at an aviation meteorology seminar currently underway in Windhoek, with Works and Transport Minister John Mutorwa calling on African experts and stakeholders to invest in cutting-edge technology, research, and training. Executive Director Esther Kapanda spoke on behalf of the minister at the conference, which is set to conclude on Thursday. Republican reports that criticism has recently been expressed about the minimum wage of 18 Namibian dollars per hour announced by the government and expected to come into force in January 2025. The labor expert Herbert Yauk said that this minimum wage is a compromise, and although it will lift the extremely low-paid workers, such as farm and domestic workers, it will hardly make their lives easier. The Ministry of Labour, Industrial Relations and Job Creation emphasized in its announcement at the weekend that the newly introduced minimum wage should serve as the lowest wage that an employer may pay an employee, and companies should not increase the salaries of their staff. Ground of this wage must not be reduced. On page 3, the Southern African Development Community's Business Council Tourism Alliance has expressed serious concern about Namibia's restrictive visa system and warned it could put a serious damper on the country's tourism industry and economic growth. In a statement issued in Johannesburg, the council says the new system is in contrast to the Namibia Airports Company's Air Access Strategy, which was recently launched under the banner Air Connect Namibia and aims to increase international flights, multiply and increase connections. The council warned that the stricter visa requirements could negatively affect several sectors of the Namibian economy, including tourism, hospitality, transport and trade, each of which relies heavily on international visitors. It points to success stories from Rwanda and Zambia that relaxing visa requirements significantly increases tourism, foreign investment and overall economic growth. Moving over to Allgemeine Zeitung's front page, Namibia and Angola have once again decided to tackle the gigantic Baines Dam and hydroelectric power project. Mines and Energy Minister Tomo Wendo was at the Lauca hydroelectric dam in Angola on Monday with Angolan Energy and Water Minister João Baptista Borges. At the meeting, it was agreed to restart the binational Baines Dam and hydroelectric power project with a capacity of 881 megawatts on the lower reaches of the Kunene River on the border between the two neighboring countries. According to a joint statement released yesterday, the decision was made on November 10, 2023. According to the paper's page 3, President Angola Mbumba and First Lady Suski Mbumba on Monday registered to contest the upcoming 2024 presidential and National Assembly elections. The president called on all citizens aged 18 and over who are eligible to vote to register and exercise their guaranteed right to vote in November. Ongwena Region Governor Sebastian De Tunga also registered on the first day and highlighted the various challenges associated with delaying until the last minute, such as long queues. That brings us to the end of the first half of our newspaper review segment. We get into the second half right after this.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Continuing with our newspaper review, the Namibian reports on its front page that the Cancer Association of Namibia Chief Executive Rolf Hansen says that his organization supports the ban of hookah pipes, also known as hubbly bubbly. He said CAN regularly receives complaints regarding the escalated use of hookah products and similar products, especially by youth and in public spaces, including schools and restaurants. On page 3, the paper reports that President Angola Mbumba has asked Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare Minister Doreen Sioka to deal with the basic income grant issue. This comes after the Big Coalition wrote to Mbumba requesting him to unconditionally accept the BIG petition once the group holds a peaceful march on 15 June. Mbumba, in a letter written to BIG Coalition, says Sioka must receive the petition. Moving over to the front page of the New Era, a dossier of documents corroborated by sources has laid bare a plethora of possible corruption allegations, maladministration and nepotism at the National Youth Council, which has become a hotbed of infighting. At the center of the latest episode is Bridgehead Group Holding Privately Limited, an NYC subsidiary which has allegedly failed to pay dividends since 2013. Bridgehead acquired fishing rights and has shares in various other companies. It is mandated to bring funds into the council and ultimately uplift the youth agenda. In essence, it is the NYC's business arm. To date, however, it has not given a single cent to the NYC, according to sources with intricate knowledge about the matter. On page 3, the Electoral Commission of Namibia returning officer for the Karas region, Jayamai Muyoro, said they'd registered 1,200 prospective voters in the region on Monday. This was the first day of the general voter registration exercise, which ends on the 1st of August, as Namibians are scheduled to return to the polls on the 27th of November 2024 for the presidential and National Assembly elections. Muyoro, in an interview with Kidmansub, said, based on national statistics, the majority of those expected to register are the youth, and urged young people in the region to go out in big numbers and register. According to MarketWatch, corporate governance expert Steve Galloway has urged the government to put effort into improving Namibia's attractiveness as a mining destination in light of recent oil and gas discoveries, saying the country currently finds itself in an unfavorable position. Galloway made the comments during a discussion on the role of the private sector in tackling corruption hosted by the Anti-Corruption Commission. According to Galloway, in the process of establishing investor-friendly legislation, government needs to ensure that it does not pursue a zero-sum outcome where only one stakeholder is satisfied. Stick around after the break, we bring you economic news.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Getting into our economic news, the newly formed Ultimate Safaris Tribe Trust yesterday announced that it has made a profit of approximately 500,000 Namibian dollars. The trust, initially created in 2022 in preparation for the gifting of the shares from the 2023 financial year, saw a group of 10 Ultimate Safaris Tribe trustees be paid dividends totaling 140,000 Namibian dollars at a handover ceremony event held at one of Ultimate Safaris' tourist destinations, Galton House Urban Retreat in Eros. A statement issued by Ultimate Safaris indicated that dividend declarations are guided by Ultimate Safaris' conservative dividend policy. The policy dictates that 30% of profits are declared dividends, with the remaining 70% to be reinvested into the company and building resilience for future calamities. This means the profit for the trust shareholding was approximately 500,000 Namibian dollars, reads the statement. We now take a look at the economic indicators just before we get into our African news. The Namibian dollar trades at $24.01 against the British pound, $20.48 to the euro, $18.86 against the US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars and 60 cents Baji, 1 Chinese yuan. First Rand Namibia Limited stocks took a dip of 0.50%, while Lesego Holdings and Namibia Breweries Limited stocks took upturns of 2.50 and 0.03% respectively, and the rest maintained. Gold and Brent crude oil are on an upturn of 0.10 and 0.62% respectively, while copper and platinum are down by 0.27 and 0.28% respectively. Local index closed on an upturn of 0.12%, while overall index closed on a dip of 0.05%. We stick around after the break. We bring you news from beyond Namibia's borders.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
We now expand beyond Namibia's borders to give you the latest news from the African continent here on NMH at 1. Although Ethiopia's northernmost region of Tigray is still crippled by a humanitarian crisis and the capital, Mekelle, is slowly crawling back to normality 19 months after a peace deal ended one of the world's deadliest recent conflicts, people are finally finding some relief after many hardships, said Haile Michael Kidane, one of the countless construction laborers at work across the city. The two-year war between Ethiopian federal forces and Tigray and rebel authorities killed as many as 600,000 people by some estimates, forced several million from their homes, and unleashed widespread hunger. Across Africa's second most populous country, Ethiopians still face rumbling internal conflicts, climate shocks, and a dire food crisis. In Tigray and neighboring Amhara, 8 million people are in need of food aid, according to a government assessment cited by the UN in April. Stick around. Right after this, we bring you international news. Just before we get into international news, just a quick update on Thabo Bester and Dr. Nandipha Magudumana and the 7 co-accused who are set to return to Free State High Court for a pre-trial conference today. Bester's co-accused include Magudumana's father Zolile Cornelia Sekeleni, his driver Zanda Moyo, camera technicians Tebogo Lipolo and James Lipolo, G4S employees Motanyani Masukela, TAON's Makotsa and Senohe Matswara. The group is embroiled in legal saga tied to Bester's sensational escape from the Mangaung Correctional Center in May 2022. Right after this, international news. A Chinese probe carrying samples from the far side of the moon started its journey back to Earth on Tuesday, the country's space agency said. A world first and a major achievement for Beijing's space program. The ascender module of the Chang'e 6 probe lifted off from lunar surface and entered a present orbit around the moon, the China National Space Administration said. It was the first craft to ever successfully take off from the satellite's far side, with state news agency Xinhua describing the launch as an unprecedented feat in human lunar exploration history. Analysis of the samples it is bringing back will allow scientists to deepen research on the formation and evolutionary history of the moon, Xinhua quoted Chang'e 6 mission spokesman Geping as saying. Thousands of singing, flag-waving people packed a downtown square to celebrate Claudia Sheinbaum's groundbreaking victory as Mexico's first woman president. Sheinbaum, a scientist by training, won around 58 to 60% of votes, according to preliminary official results from the National Electoral Institute, which estimated turnout at 60%. That was more than 30 percentage points ahead of her main opposition rival, Xochitl Gálvez, and some 50 percentage points ahead of the only man running, centrist Jorge Alvarez Maínez. Some women carried cardboard flags with a photo of Sheinbaum and the phrase "Legamos todas," a mantra during the election campaign. It translates roughly as "all of us women will make it." Stick around. Right after this, we bring you local and international sports news.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Starting off our local sports news, after their heroics in getting to the last 16 at the Africa Cup of Nations finals in January, the Tafellaga Brave Warriors now turn their sights to World Cup qualification and their clash with Liberia at the Yolanda Stadium in Soweto today, which kicks off at 6 p.m. Namibia, despite losing to Equatorial Guinea in their first match, have been awarded a 3-0 victory after FIFA had ruled that Equatorial Guinea used a defaulter in their opening 2 matches. National rugby coach Alistair Coetzee and his assistant Rohan Kitchhoff have been conducting training sessions for members of the Windhoek Beerwel Witches squad at Hage Geingob Stadium since last week. Namibia is preparing for its first home test match since August 2018, with Portugal presenting a fierce challenge as an emerging rugby nation in the upcoming clash on the 13th of July. Right after this, international sports news. Novak Djokovic's French Open title defense ended with a whimper following the top seed's withdrawal due to a right knee problem, while Jannik Sinner celebrated his imminent takeover as world number 1 with a crushing win over Grigor Dimitrov on Tuesday. Australian cyclist Robert Stannard has been given a 4-year doping ban backdated to 2018 due to abnormalities in his biological passport. The former Alpecin Ducenic rider was provisionally suspended by Cycling Global governing body last year and removed from Australia's road race team for the World Championships in Glasgow. Stannard denied wrongdoing when his provisional suspension was made public last year. If you're just joining us, this is NMH at 1, and we'll get into the highlights from today's broadcast on the other side of this.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
You're still with NMH at 1. If you're just joining us, here are the news highlights from today's broadcast. In African news, although Ethiopia's northmost region of Tigray is still gripped by a humanitarian crisis, the capital Mekelle is slowly crawling back to normality 19 months after a peace deal ended one of the world's deadliest recent conflicts. In international news, a Chinese probe carrying samples from the far side of the moon started its journey back to Earth on Tuesday, a world first and a major achievement for Beijing's space program. In local sports news, Tafolaga Brave Warriors now turn their sights to World Cup qualification and their clash with Liberia at the Orlando Stadium in Soweto today, which kicks off at 6 p.m. Do remember, NMH at 1 streams live every weekday at 1 p.m, sharing the latest news in Namibia and beyond. From all of us in studio, happy Wednesday.